Welcome back, guys. It's Colin with the Sun Pirates, and we're doing part 2 of our review of GD02 Dual Impact for Gundam card game. So this time, as you can tell from the title, we're talking about green. But before we do, remember to like and subscribe as always. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So remember that a lot of this is just my first impressions. We're just going to talk about the main archetypes coming out of this color. And while I'm not going to be talking about every single card, I'm just trying to give a generalized overview of what these new strategies are. So let's start off by talking about the new Xeon stuff. We have the LR, the Elmeth. It's a level 6/5 cost, 4/4 in stats, so a little bit unimpressive compared to other things of the same level. But on deploy, you get to look at top 5 for any green Xeon pilot card. So most notably, you can grab Char, right? He's probably the most important one. And during link, it gets AP +2, which it links with Lala. Lala is a level 3 1-cost pilot, very similar to Char. It's the exact same typing, actually. And when paired, you choose one of your other Xeon Link units, and it gets Breach 1 for the turn. Lala herself, I'm not super impressed with, which I think Kareem Zaimir would be very happy about. But yeah, compared to something like Mukuve from set 1, which just straight up gives Breach to the Xeon unit that he's paired with, I'm not sure that I could really justify playing Lala over that, aside from the fact that she's a new type, so maybe that sort of typing can be more relevant. But yeah, I mean, on the Elmeth, it becomes a 7/5 attacker, which is reasonably large, but again, to do that in your Xeon deck, especially if it's like a low to the ground aggro Xeon deck, I'm not sure if you would want something like this, since again, it's just so expensive. Maybe there's an argument down the line to build some sort of like big green Xeon deck. Maybe you can even build up to the big Zam or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not super sold on this one. I do like that you can fetch something off of the top 5. So it's card draw that Xeon normally doesn't have. So yeah, we'll definitely see with this one. And then moving on to some of the other Xeon units, a lot of it's kind of mixed in with the G-Quux stuff. For example, we have the Kikaroga MA mode from G-Quux. It links with Shalia Bull. And then while you have another friendly Xeon Link unit in play, it gets Breach 5. Breach 5's a lot, to be fair, but it is just a 3/4 in stats, so again, a little bit understated for being a level 5. Not sure how much play this one would see. With Shalia Bolt, it can become like a 5/6 if you have the requirement, but again, I'm just not sure how consistently you can pull this off. And then for more G-Quux stuff, we also have the level 5 Red Gundam as a rare. It's a level 5 3 cost, 4/4 in stats, so pretty on par. And it links with any clan trait, and while linked, it has high maneuver. So like out of the starter deck, it can link with Shuji and Machu, and it can trigger their abilities, which is really nice. And so you can also get that high maneuver fairly consistently, assuming you're playing 4 of each of those pilots. And being a 4/4 at 3 costs, so it's relatively cheap for what it is, so I definitely don't hate it. And then strangely enough, the new Xeon/G-Quux card that I'm probably the most excited and or afraid of coming out of this color is actually the White Gundam. It's a level 3 2 cost, 3/3 in Xeon, and it links with Char. So with that, on top of the Char Zaku 2s from set 1 format, you can have up to 12 units in your deck at level 3 that link with Char. Which is pretty scary. It has the same base power as the Zaku's also, so with Char, it becomes a 5 power guy with high maneuver that can just break your opponent's base and clear the way for all your small guys. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about Blue-Green Xeon having more access to Char Link pairs. Again, I'm not totally sure if you want to play this card since it's just a vanilla. It doesn't have the on-destruction abilities like the Char Zaku 2s, but it does come with the extra HP, so that could also come up. So with Char, it becomes a 4 health guy as opposed to the Zaku's being only 3 health when linked. So there's an argument for this one. Again, it's just the idea of playing 12 units at level 3 that can link with Char just sounds scary, so it might not be worth it in practice, but just in theory, having Char link pairs more consistently does sound a little bit scary. And then we have a new command that's pretty interesting as well. It's another sort of search/straw command for, I guess, mostly for G-Quux, though it can also be for Xeon, I suppose. It's Turning Point of History. It's a level 1/1 cost. You can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, return 1 card to the top, put the other 2 to the bottom of your deck. And then if you have a new type pilot in play, you draw a card, which is going to be the card that you place on top, right? So it is an interesting approach to a consistency piece like Overflowing Affection for green decks. I'm not sure if it's worth it to just play it without the new type in play, just to manipulate your top 3. Now granted, in something like blue-green, it might be worth trying to like find your Char more consistently since he's so important. But on the other hand, like going -1 just to like not draw the card feels kind of bad. But later in the game, when you do have your new type pilots, whether it be like Amuro, Char, or in G-Quelks you have like Machu and Shuji, you can maybe make an argument for this being like a nice consistency piece just to find your late game pieces to close out the game. So this one's definitely interesting. I can see some arguments back and forth on whether this card would be good or not, but I think time will tell. We'll just definitely have to try it out and see, right? But moving on, let's talk about the other main archetype, which is the H series. So we have the LR, the H1 normal. We've known about this one for quite a while now. It's level 3 2 cost at 2/2. It links with any Asano family, which at the moment we only have Flit, but I'm sure down the line they will print the other main Asano characters as well. On deploy, you can discard a Green Earth Federation unit. If you do, place an EX resource, and then if you're a level 7, you draw a card. This one's interesting. Again, some people have called it strictly worse than Wing Gundam Bird Mode because Bird Mode just gives you the EX resource off the bat without you having to discard anything. But granted, it is a 2 cost, so going second when you have the EX resource, you don't have to burn it at your level 3 turn. You can just play this with your 2 natural resources and then gain that second EX resource. So that's something it has going for it. Again, it's just having to discard a card. I don't know if that's worth gaining the EX resource. Now, of course, in this archetype, there are benefits for beelining up to level 7, so we'll talk about those as well. One of them that I really like is the level 4 3 cost in the H1 Spallow. So it's a 3/4 in stats, so correctly statted for what it is. And then during Link, if you're level 7 or higher, it gains First Strike. So with Flit, it becomes a 4/5 with First Strike. So it can First Strike most things in the game without having a pilot on it. And then even paired units like Link pairs, this can still potentially First Strike them down if they already had a little bit of damage on them. And then we also have the other H form, which is the Titus, which we actually have 2 versions of it. We have the level 4 2 costs Titus. It's a 2/4 in stats, but it becomes a 4/4 if you're level 7, which is nice. It's kind of like the Michaelis out of Academy. And then we also have the level 7 Titus. It's just a natural breach 3, and it's a 5/5 in stats, but only 4 cost as compared to something like the Freedom and the Justice, so it's actually a little bit cheaper compared to other level 7s. Of course, the stats aren't quite as huge for it, because it doesn't do anything super crazy beyond having the breach 3, but with Flit, it's still a respectable 6/6. And I haven't really talked about him yet, but Flit's actually a pretty nice pilot as well. On Link, you can look at top 3 and grab any Green Earth Federation unit card, or a card with H device in its name, so he effectively draws you a card, which again, I'm pretty partial to pilots that draw you additional cards like Benager, because drawing cards is very much a premium in this game. We also have a couple of other H support units like the G-Exis, which gives them Breach 2 if you place an EX resource, as well as the Geno Ace Custom, which gives you +2 AP on deploy if you're level 7 or higher. So yeah, looking at this as a whole, I think this archetype looks really fun to play. I'm not sure how competitive it might be per se, but I definitely want to try it out. Of course, with playing the H1 normal and Wing Gundam Burn mode together, you can beeline up to level 7, and the H stuff isn't the only payoff that you can have at level 7. Obviously you can play other things like the actual Wing Gundams, the Wing Zeros, Death Scythes, so there are some possibilities there as well. I haven't mentioned it yet, but the H device is also an interesting piece. You do have to have an H system unit in play to gain an EX resource, but it is a effectively cheaper ramp because it only costs 2 than something like First Contact, and it's something that's searchable, which is nice. And then there is one more small payoff to being at level 7 for your H stuff, which is actually the base itself. It's the Diva. While you're level 7 or higher, your friendly Earth Federation green units get +1 AP, so suddenly something like your H1 Titus, while linked, becomes a 7/6, right? Or even your Spallow, you can First Strike with 5 power instead of 4 power. So these do hit certain breakpoints that would be pretty relevant as well. So yeah, like I said before, I'm not super sure how consistent the H stuff is going to be at this moment, but I think down the line, when we get more support for it, it can probably be pretty good, and I'm definitely excited to try it out now and try to like build something with it. And then to round it off with a couple of outliers, we do have the new Heavy Arms. It's a level 4/3 cost at 3/4, so correctly statted for what it is. It links with any Operation Meteor trait, so interestingly enough, you can link it with Duos to make it unshrinkable, or especially link it with Hero to make it a 6/6 monster at level 4, which is pretty good. And on deploy, you just look at the top card, return to top or bottom. So it does help you dig for your other main Operation Meteor pieces very subtly. Now, with that being said, I'm not sure if subtle is good enough for what you're trying to do in like a green-white shell, for example, but we could definitely try it out. Again, being a 6/6 with Hero at level 4 is pretty big, admittedly, so maybe you could see some play here and there. And then also, I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous video, but we do have this new cycle of level 2 1-cost vanillas. These are 2/3s instead of being 2/2s, but they come with the caveat that they cannot attack the enemy player. So they're just good for trading into board. So when you're up against like other aggro decks that are playing a bunch of these like vanilla 2/2s or like the level 2 1/2 Zaku, for example, you can use something like this Police Zaku that I have up on the screen to trade into them very efficiently. So I'm not sure how much play these types of cards would actually see, but they do seem like somewhat reasonable roadblocks if you're trying to play like a slower deck that's trying to like stay alive for the end game. So we'll definitely see with these ones. I would definitely keep an eye out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today on green. Remember that we also did a review on blue, so check out that video if you like, and be on the lookout for the rest of the colors that we will review. So as always, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.